Alright, y'all. This is kind of an update, not much on progress, but on some of the things that, when you're trapped in a medical establishment such as this, not that this is a bad one, it's not, but trapped in a medical establishment where you can't utilize your shoulder and utilizing your arms not really possible, and that leg can barely bear weight, and you don't have a second leg or a fourth option. You're stuck here insofar as crawling out of here on an elbow sounding like a bad option. Some of the things you might face, and some of the things you might want to have advocated for you, just as a side tip on top of another reason that I should, you know, maybe receive some pity. One of the things that I've had to go through not only was denials and denials, but approvals, such that the insurance place would deny and then the place would approve, or the insurance would approve, but then the place would deny. And they like to go back and forth like that. The one I'm mentioning is actually the same building. I had LTAC slash Northern Colorado Rehab Hospital. Their LTAC denied me, and then insurance approved me, and then the doctors wrote another rebuttal, and then the LTAC approved me, but then insurance denied me, which is quite weird. Absolutely not quite sure how the reason behind that went. But then the doctors realized that they needed to find an alternative option. So then they tried to go for the acute rehab, which was originally denied by my insurance, at which point I called up my insurance advocate. Some insurance companies provide an insurance advocate for free. Sometimes you have to pay an outside third-party service to get such things. But anyway, I called them up, then I went through the documentation of the denial. I do speak fluent healthcare, so I didn't need them to break it down in layman's terms. And then I asked to speak to the physician at that said insurance company, and then I basically said to the physician, what makes you think that you, reading paperwork, have a good enough medical opinion to disagree with 16 surgeons with 4 different specialities as to why I would be a good candidate for acute rehab, and within about 6 to 12-ish hours. Now, I say within about 6 hours because they said yes within 6 hours that it was approved. But within 12 hours, I was notified and moved to the rehab. It's insane how fast that works when you ask them stuff like that and then tell them that you want that written or emailed with their signature and their license number to practice in whatever state. It doesn't matter. This state's Colorado. If it's the state of California, doesn't matter. Normally, very quickly, they'll realize that there's a mild version of legal threat behind that. Well, anyway, the current thing that I'm now dealing with is that when you leave a place, sometimes they will have done a procedure very close to your departure date. In this case, I had 15 x-rays done the day of the approval to check on the healing of this, the healing of this, the healing of that. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of x-rays. Some of them had to happen in multiple angles. Some of them happen to happen like top of the leg, top of the ankle, multiple angles of the scapula, multiple angles of the wrist. Okay, well, whatever. Well, I was then instantly. I called orthopedics, told them I wanted a reading before I left so I knew what I was allowed to do and what I was not allowed to do at said rehabilitation center. They sent a trauma team surgeon up to me to read off what they, the orthopedic section, had said was, or actually, I guess I should say the radiological section had said about the quality of my health and my healing to both the orthopedics and to the trauma team. I was informed that this would be allowed. Range of motion, passive weight, which is like moving of itself under its own weight, right? And then also what they call WBAT, which is weight bearing as tolerated, right? And that the shoulder is the shoulder. It was not going to get any version of excellence. And then the foot, which already had WBAT. We don't need to fight for any of that. So I would have had a wrist and a leg. Well, apparently that information was either not transmitted to this facility or either that wasn't the information they looked at. Either way, when I get to PT, I was told I'm not allowed to work on this at all. No weight. All right, well, this facility is only a 3-week facility. Very intensive PT, but it's only 3 weeks. I was told by this facility 8 weeks of healing. Now, if I can't use this arm, and I can't use this arm, that means I can't use a wheelchair. Well, unless I get an electric wheelchair for exactly 3 weeks, which no insurance company in the history of insurance companies will cover. I could buy one. I don't have, $11,000 to buy a freaking electric wheelchair. I can doodle around with my thing. It's not happening, right? So I wouldn't be able to. That's not it. Wouldn't be able to wipe my own ass. If I can't take this off, and I can't reach around nothing with that. Can't wipe my own ass. I can't wash my own nothing. My groin, my butt, my toes. I can't even bend that far currently. Just due to the fact that it hurts my leg. But anyway, I can't bend down that far. It's kind of horrifying how much you do lose in accident. Regardless, that would be what's called a bad discharge. So I called up ortho very quickly. They said that they never said that. They'll send the documents over. I get a little printed thing that says what I'm allowed to do. It doesn't include the things I was just told on the phone. I call back ortho, tell them, now I want to be CC'd. You need to send this via email. If this is not sent via email and I'm not CC'd, I'm going to include a different level of something. That different level, as I stated, is either an insurance, in-house, third-party healthcare advocate or a third-party paid for by you healthcare advocate. Now, these people are generally trained in 3 things. They're trained in finance, they're trained in medical, and then they're trained in law. All right, so they're going to look at the billing of it. They're going to look at the medical side of it, making sure all the communication's happening between you, the other facilities, all of that. And then the third side, the legality of all of these things in combination. It shuts down places when these people do inspections of your history, because they're going to talk to every single freaking person involved in your case, and that nurse is busy with other cases, that doctor is busy with other cases, those surgeons are busy with other surgeries, everybody is busy, but they study law, and these people have what's called a license to practice. If they don't obey the law, they lose their license to practice. So I will absolutely let you know that these are ways that you can advocate for yourself.